When the devil is attacking you at full force, you can do one of two things. You can, number one, establish meaningful actions in your life and behaviors, or number two, you can get swept away in the void of sin. And the only thing that's going to ground you and anchor yourself into the ground is to ensure that your principles are going to be stronger than your temptations. And the way that you make your principles stronger than temptations is by putting your faith and confidence in the Lord, and to make sure that you are moving in a way that contributes to yourself, number one, and God, of course, but also to the betterment of any people around you. And if you're focusing on yourself as your mental focal point of origin, you're going to naturally influence the people around you to do better. And I see a lot of people right now that are really going through it, and they're really being targeted. And you know why these people are being targeted? Because their light is starting to shine a little too bright for the devil. Okay, that's when the devil is going to come, is because he sees you that you are basically a spiritual celebrity in the spiritual domain, right? So what's going to happen is, in the domain of spirituality, the devil's going to send agents like narcissists or Jezebels, or just really dangle temptations in front of you to ensure that you're going to get caused trouble in your life as much as possible. And what's crazy is, every single time that trouble has been caused for people in their life by the devil, every single time people have been doing something good. They've been doing something good, they're doing something positive, they're making proper changes, and then here comes the devil trying to cause trouble. So, you know what? You know what we have to do? We have to cause an even more trouble for the devil. We've got to make sure that we do not back down, that we have that fire of refinement flowing through us in our spirit. We have to make sure that we hold the sword of truth, and we wield the sword of truth, and we walk with the armor of faith around us. So we have to make sure that as we're moving through the world, and as we're igniting ourselves toward greater heights, that the platitudes of the devil are not going to cause us to be formless in our disarray, but rather formless in spirit and truth. Well, how do we do that? Well, again, you have to anchor yourself in actions and behaviors that are going to lead you closer to the Most High God, and that are going to stay strong and steady apart from just getting swept up. There are so many people right now that I know that are causing trouble for the devil, and shout out to those people, because those are the kinds of people that we need right now. We need people that are causing trouble for the devil. And we have to understand that this is a spiritual battlefield. This is a spiritual war. And one of the easiest ways that the devil is going to cause trouble for you, or try to cause trouble, is, number one, he's going to lead you astray, give you some kind of form of temptation. Remember, the devil comes not first as an angel of light. He appears to be that, but that's not what he is at all. And remember also, there are spiritual laws that the devil has to abide by. Okay, the devil cannot really do anything without notifying God. Okay, and we know that because in the book of Job, that's what the devil does. The devil basically makes a bet with Job, makes a bet with God about Job, whether or not he can get Job to curse God. And God says, no. He won't do that. He's too faithful. He's my best guy. He's the star player on the team, man. And what's cool is, not only does God have faith in you, but you're important enough for God's mission and to be a part of God's will, because God doesn't need us, but he wants us. And that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point, is that well, then why are we going through all this spiritual warfare? Why exactly are we going through spiritual warfare, and why did he create us to have a choice to begin with? What if, like some people will say, well, I didn't want to be created, but here I am, and I have to make a choice. It's like, well, yeah, you do have to make a choice, and you were created for a reason. And there's a lot of people that don't want to believe that. There's many people that will see faithfulness as a form of dogmatism and a form of logical inconsistencies and contradictions that they don't quite understand. I used to be an atheist, and I was really against following God or even looking at pictures of Jesus growing up, and I never understood it. I never really liked it because it seemed to me like they were worshiping a man. I didn't understand the whole story. And so a lot of the times people will start to judge, and when people are making certain judgments on you, you have to recognize that sometimes these people that are so against your faith and that are trying to destroy you because of your faith, whether it's family or friends or people at your job or whatever it is, which I don't recommend to talk about faith and such at your job because, well, let's face it, this is a world and a society that has a God-shaped hole, and you'll see a lot of people that claim to be God-fearing or claim to be this or claim to be that, and they ultimately they've got religious spirits. And so you've got to be mindful of this, you've got to be wary of this, and you've got to make sure that you're moving in accordance, because you don't want to necessarily get lost in the sauce, and you want to make sure that everything that you're doing is for the sake of freeing your soul and freeing you from the bonds and the shackles of sin. And what that means is that you're going to be a troublemaker. You're going to be a troublemaker for the devil. And that's actually a good sign. If you're causing trouble for the devil, that's a good sign. But remember, the devil can't really do anything without consulting God first. And it's not necessarily that he's consulting, he's just letting him know, because the angels, even if they're fallen, still have to abide by the spiritual laws. Okay, there are still spiritual laws that not even the devil can overcome. Okay, remember, Jesus says he's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He means that. Okay, he means that. It's exactly that. Everything that happens in between, it's going to be whatever. All right, but we have to make sure that we're just moving accordingly, and that we're moving with grace and vigorousness and virility, and not letting these people get so caught up into our own lives that we start to move differently in a way that hinders our growth, because we want to make sure we stay away from certain people or don't talk to these people, or we have to communicate with these people. No. You don't have to communicate or not communicate with anybody you do or do not want to. Okay, listen to God and go to God for that. And a lot of people, they don't understand what it means to have this personal relationship to God. And they don't understand what it means to have leverage in their own life. Well, having leverage in your own life just means that you're staying in your lane. Okay, you're operating under the presupposition that all that is good, true, merciful, and just will bear itself into being and manifest itself into your apprehensions, whether or not you're going to be here to see it necessarily, because, at least in the physical world, because you trust that whatever starts with God will end also with God, and what starts with God will also end in what? Victory. So if you can trust that, and you can trust that your growth will not be hindered, your growth will not necessarily be squandered by the devil, and you might be a bigger troublemaker. You might be the godlike troublemaker that pisses off the devil. If you're a godlike troublemaker that pisses off the devil, You're doing something right. And that's something that you don't need to fear. Okay, that's what the devil wants. The devil wants you to feel shame. He wants you to feel this irritation at yourself specifically. He wants you to feel like, have you ever noticed that almost every single time, most godly people that I know, and I'm sure you guys have seen this too, where if you are doing well and doing good and you're doing God's will, and then you're attacked spiritually, who's the first person you look to? Well, obviously it's going to be yourself. And so obviously you're going to critique yourself first. And that's appropriate more often than not. However, you also have to recognize that you can't control everybody else's behaviors. The only thing that you can control is going to be yourself and how you respond to certain situations, how you respond to certain things. What you prioritize ultimately is going to be what is responsive down the line in your life. If you prioritize certain things in your life, that's going to be the manifestation of certain things also down the line. And so if you prioritize making sure that you are living a life in accordance to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and you're also living a life that is philosophically, spiritually, psychologically sound, because that's what the people don't want you to do. Okay, that's what people don't want you to live a fulfilled and holistic life. And why is that? Well, because they're going to project all of these motives that they have onto you and think that because they do certain things, you're going to be doing certain things. This is something you see in like cheaters, for example, in relationships. More often than not, I've seen people literally compete to cheat first. How pathetic is that? Like, this is just, I mean, this was years ago, but that was something that legitimately I saw was somebody competing in the relationship to cheat first, so that way they won't get hurt by the other person. It's like, okay, that's not godlike trouble. That's just the devil getting to you. Okay, that's just the devil completely sidelining your priorities and just reorienting your priorities in the worst way possible. Okay, because I don't encourage anybody to cheat. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I think a man ought to have the capacity to cheat. And I think a woman properly has the capacity to cheat as well, but they don't act on it and they don't entertain options, because ultimately a woman is going to be attracted to a man that can entertain options but doesn't. And then a woman and then a man, if he is with a beautiful woman, he's going to know he's going to know that she's got options. He's going to know, because men think very similarly when it comes to attraction. We see a beautiful girl, we're like, okay, cool. You know, most of the time we're just, it's that simple. Men don't look at the whole package like women do. Women look at everything. Women will look at the way you walk, the way you talk, how you carry yourself, the style of your shoes. Are your shoes okay? Like, is your dress, your wardrobe, is it clean? You know, do you smell good? Like, there are certain things that women will look at everything at, but men we're just very simple creatures. We're like, oh, she's hot. It's very simple. But that kind of thinking can get you into, you're thinking with the wrong head. I'll just leave it at that. So you've got to make sure you're thinking with the right head and a logistic head and being reasonable, okay? Now, you've got to make sure that being reasonable and being rational is, you're being reasonable, not necessarily always rational, because sometimes the rational decisions are not going to be reasonable. And sometimes the reasonable decisions are not going to be rational. Well, why is that? Well, because being reasonable responds in accordance to spirituality and spiritual life. You can integrate rationality into reason. And sometimes, well, how do I say this? How do I say this properly? I want to make sure this comes across the most sufficient way possible. You can sometimes integrate rationality into reason, and you can sometimes integrate reason into rationality, but the two are not the same. They're not the same thing. Rationality is pure logistics. Okay, it's pure numbers, logic, mathematician kind of thinking, etc. Engineer types, you can think about it like that. Whereas reason, this involves a little bit more wisdom. Okay, rationality is not always wise, and vice versa. So anyways, guys, I hope this message was useful and insightful. I really didn't want to do a video today, the rest of the day, honestly, because I just kind of felt like I needed to let the dust settle. There's a lot of things going on, lots of moving parts going on. And I was out on a walk earlier, and just to get some fresh air, and God was really putting it on my heart to share this message. So I hope it reaches the people that need to hear it and that need to see it. And if you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have a group of godlike people where we are growing in mind, body, and soul each and every day. We have the free Discord channel available, as well as the paid community. In the paid community, which is the Regal Change Academy, which is just paid, there's more resources and opportunities for online calls, etc. And then in the free Discord channel, we have a free ebook available for you, meditation guides, fitness guides, etc. I do appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X, Rumble, and Instagram recently. I appreciate you guys' extra support, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. Shout out to all the members, the subscribers, and all the followers. I appreciate you guys. And peace be with you all. Until next time.